Hello, folks. Welcome aboard to the American election here in America, where we are pretending that the election is one thing when it's really something much more simple. And actually, unfortunately, it's something so simple it's facile. So the narrative is that Hillary, the Democrat, is about love and handicapped people and women being equal and equality and caring for people. And we don't care enough and we love everyone and we're about standing our ground and being really benevolent. And then the anti-Trump sort of stance is that he's about being mean and fear-mongering, and he's tough. And then he would say, well, it's tough but fair, and I'm about austerity, and I'm about paying your own way, and no, you're not. You hate Muslims, and you're about racism, and she's not about racism, and blah, 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 blah. And foreign policy, oh, he has his hands on the nuke. He's going to blow it up. It's all a distraction. The entire election is mommy versus daddy. I know. I wish it wasn't that simple. But voters are not informed. Voters go by their gut in this country. They go by their gut in Canada. And most voters are female. And in Canada, they voted for a hunk. And now the Prime Minister is a hot mess and a hot retard. They may do the same here. We voted for Obama because he was the most Fonzarelli president we've ever seen. So we said, yeah, I want him. He seems cool. He plays basketball and stuff, and he's got a real vibe. He's got a real swagger. Let's vote for him. Great. As I learned this from Michael Moore, of all people. I was reading an interview with him, and he said 80% of voters are young, female, or a visible minority, or some combination of the three. That's quite a force to be reckoned with. Meanwhile, I believe it's the dads, the patriarchs, that control the economy, that have the most to lose. It's sort of like all these other people aren't really part of the game. They don't shop at the restaurant. As Romney said, 50% of them don't even pay tax. So do you get to go into a restaurant and tell them what's on the menu when you don't even eat at that restaurant? 80% of the people don't eat at the restaurant, but they want to tell us what to put on the menu. I think only men should vote and only landowners, but that's just my personal opinion. And I said should, not legally allowed to. But anyway, everything you look at with this election falls into the mommy daddy category. That's why she's not thwarted by these 30,000 emails, because it's still your mommy. You're voting for her because she's your mom. You don't really care what she does. If your mom murdered someone, you'd probably take her side. Hillary has got plenty of those. We still don't know what happened with Vince Foster. They don't care. She can't be thrown from that. Conversely, daddy, Trump, who is often called daddy, is the patriarch. And if there's one group that hates the patriarch, it's liberals. In fact, I think their entire ethos is based on daddy resentment. Look at education. You look at all young people in college, they all are liberals. Everyone creative is a liberal. Why? Why do they all have this hatred of the patriarch? I think it's because they know they wasted their time in college taking these stupid liberal classes like mass communication and philosophy of self and how to be gay. That was a class. And they feel bad about that. They feel kind of guilty. They feel like, I wasted 60 grand doing this, and they know their father would be disappointed in them. So screw dad. I'm going to discredit everything he says, and now I don't feel bad about being such a loser who hasn't really learned anything or done anything with my life. I want to focus on mommy. And we know, genetically over time, women have been bred to be more accepting, more optimistic, more glasses half full. When you look at a drawing a kid does, a mommy goes, yay, that looks like a horse. A dad looks at it and goes, yeah, it looks like a bean with 4 sticks sticking out of the bottom and a weird blob for a head. That's not a horse. Kids don't like that. They don't want to hear daddy. So they want the good cop and not the bad cop. The dad is the bad cop. And that's why if you talk to anyone in the creative community, they despise Trump. All leftists hate daddy. They hate Trump. They hate the patriarchy. They hate Republicans. It's all the same thing to them. Dad. And this really exposes itself in art too. Like you say today in modern art, you put a tampon in a teacup. That's art, right? No, a dad would go, what is that? That's crap. A dad sees a landscape and he goes, well, that looks realistic. It's almost like a picture. That's good. That's art. So the patriarchs, the right wing, are like art just as much as the left wing. It's just that the left wing has a much wider scope of what is art. So artists tend to go on that side because it includes them. The right has rules. Dads have rules. Trump has rules. There's restrictions there. And that's why if you Google any comedian any creative type, next to the word Trump, you'll see a pile of vitriol because what it really is railing against Dad. And another piece of evidence towards this is the strange embracing that they have of Islam. The left loves Islam. And you go, they're the first to kill you. You understand you'll be the first to go if ISIS takes over. No, it's not about that. They know they don't agree with them politically, but the enemy of my enemy is my friend. So they go, I love illegal immigration. I love Mumia Abu Jamal Warner, whatever. Mumia Abu Jamal. I love ISIS. I love Muslims. I love all this stuff that makes my dad mad. Because my politics, I'm a liberal now, are just anti-dad. And that's why also you'll see a Hispanic yelling on a megaphone in a Black Lives Matter movement going,
ask yourself what you're going to do for the black community, because we have no obligation to play in your white supremacist ideology. It is not our job.
And you go, my understanding is that Hispanics in California have started a race war with blacks and are throwing Molotov cocktails through the windows of black homes, choosing the children's bedroom window because it causes the most damage. So I'm not sure you have the right to sit there as a Hispanic and talk about how horrible it is for you and blacks. You guys are at war. And also, you have an accent. So you're clearly newly here. I'm not sure you can jump on the slavery bandwagon. The lady next to you has got plenty of history to be mad about. You can't just show up at the 11th hour. But what do those two groups have in common? They make Daddy uncomfortable. They make Archie Bunker uncomfortable. It is sad that it's come to this, that an election has come down to mommy versus daddy. Me. It's about our megalomania and who makes us feel more comfortable. The good news is that we tried it with mommies. We tried the single mom experiment. I mean, in the black community, we reward single moms for breaking up with their boyfriends. We give them money. That has shattered the black family, and it hasn't been good for blacks. It hasn't been good for crime. And unfortunately, this is why Hillary has so much more votes in the black community than Trump, because black people in America know mommy more than daddy. But America overall, I hope, is going to realize that austerity is ultimately good for you. You know, my dad always said, we weren't friends when we were young, and he said, and now we're best friends. And he said to me, once he said, you can either be friends with your weans, that's kids in Scottish. You can be friends with your weans when you're young or friends when you're old. I chose old. So he was the tough guy my whole youth, and now I thank him for it. And that is going to be the next 8 years of Trump. Tough love where you hate him and you hate that you got to get off the couch and work, but it's ultimately better for everyone. Let's bring back the patriarchy, because in Trump, we trust. Did you like that? Okay, check it out. I got a whole comedy show called How's It Going, Eh? You just have to click right here to subscribe.